Alan Haley, the chief did respond to our report and also address the canceled academy. So it appears that the spring academy that was said to be canceled is back on the books, at least for one of them. The chief says, though, that it was never canceled. I do have an email to combat that, but his response does say that an academy is moving forward with about 12 to 15 recruits in this March. Now, you can read some of my conversation with the chief here today, and you can see that email response. Now, an official RFD email sent to me by multiple anonymous sources reads that due to poor firefighter recruitment, we will not be holding 2 firefighter orientation academies this spring. We will be eliminating our first academy, which would have been February to March 18th. The department is, quote, in the process of trying to recruit additional candidates. The email also says that there could be a tentative plan for an April academy if they could recruit 11 more candidates. Now, the chief denies this, and he also says that the fire department has no resignations to date. We know, though, as I've reported, that this is not the case, that we know of at least 5 people who have already accepted positions with other fire agencies. Whether or not they have put in their resignations, that might not be the case yet, but they are leaving, and then 10 others are at least having conversations with other agencies who are offering better pay, better benefits, and more compensation there. Lastly, one of the responses that I want to share with you is an anonymous response that I also got from firefighters today that says that the chief's response shows the, quote, disconnect or dishonesty from upper level management. That's a big thing that they are concerned with. The chief, though, I sent him that. He did not have a response to that comment. But we do know, Alan and Haley, that now not 1, but 2 negotiation meetings with the Reading Fire Department Association and the city of Reading have been canceled by the city. That puts Reading firefighters at almost a month now working under an expired contract. In Reading, Courtney Kreider, Action News Now, coverage you can count on.
Thanks, Courtney. We also have been speaking with family members of the fire department, and we'll be bringing you more about their input here on Action News Now as we continue to follow this story. And it was a cool evening out there. It is a cool evening in South Oroville. This is a live look as that sun goes down.
And Chief Meteorologist Jason Stiff is tracking the night ahead.
Yeah, still barely a cloud to be seen. You can see a couple in the far distant looking up toward the northwest, but overall we're still going to have a clear sky tonight. The breezes have been blowing, and that has kept the temperatures warmer than average. Right now in Oroville, a mild 64. It's also 64 degrees in Chico, 66 degrees in Reading, and the average high this time of year is 58. 69 right now in Corning, 32 in Alturas, and it's 50 degrees in Bernie. But earlier today, Reading had a 43 mile-an-hour gust. Currently, sustained wind of 18 miles an hour. Jarbo Gap had a 50 mile-an-hour gust about 7:15 this morning. And we still have the breezes continuing through the valley as well as through the canyons late tonight through tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. That will keep some of our overnight lows milder than they should be. But I'm also tracking a mild afternoon and the return of more rain and snow. We certainly need it. Let you know how much you can expect where you live, and I'll have your 7-day forecast through the first day of February in just a few minutes.
The PG&E manslaughter hearing in the Zog fire case continued today in Shasta County. This is the preliminary hearing, and among today's witnesses, the court heard from another PG&E contractor and a surveyor for CAL FIRE, plus a utility forester who also has worked with PG&E. Now, the outcome of the hearing will determine whether Shasta County's manslaughter charges against the utility will go to trial. Some new controversial signage showed up at the alternative homeless campsite on the corridor of Eaton Road and Cohasset Road in North Chico. Action News Now reporter Lauren Cooper investigates who is behind the call for Honk to Support Us.
The sign's been up less than a week, but it's garnered a lot of attention since then. From cars passing by to the people living at the alternative site. Ashley Anthrewitt has been staying at the homeless site on Cohasset and Eaton Road since September.
We've been hearing the honking for the whole time we've been here, basically.
She says the honking was usually accompanied by obscenities, yelling, and in one case, bullets. But now, she says the sign gives the sound of a car horn new meaning.
Seeing the sign that says honk if you support us, it turns it to where if we can't really hear the context of why they're honking, it's just a honk, then we just get to internalize it as support, and we turn it into appreciation and gratitude.
She says her husband thinks the same thing.
Every time my husband hears a honk now, even if it might be like a blaring situation, he just goes, you know what? Yeah, keep spreading the love. Yeah, that's exactly what we need more of, that kind of encouragement.
I spoke with the man who posted the banner, who wants to stay anonymous, but tells me the sign is meant to empower the homeless people living at the site.
They expressed how scared they are. They're very nervous. Sleeping out there, they get shot at night. They get horns honking all hours of the night. And so I thought, well, if we make a sign, honk if you support us, might help mitigate that, and then let them know that people that do honk care for them.
He says before the sign, honking was making the situation worse for the people living there.
Honking and screaming at people that are sleeping outside is not the way our community should be. That's not the way any community should behave. And we need to bring awareness to that and be able to do better. We can't make poverty a crime.
He told me the people living here can cut the sign down at any time if it ends up having the opposite effect. But so far, the people like having it here and tell me it gives them hope. In Chico, Lauren Cooper, Action News Now, coverage you can count on.
The man who put the sign up says he got the idea after visiting the site during the storms. Now, we should tell you that we are working to find out from Chico Police the validity of those claims that there has been shooting there at the homeless camp. Chico and the rest of Butte County will soon have a better idea of the scope of the homeless crisis.
The Butte County Continuum of Care conducted its biannual point-in-time survey. And Action News Now reporter Tori Apodaca is live near Chico City Hall. So, Tori, how did it all go today?
It was a pretty constant flow of people coming out to this area to be surveyed and to see how many homeless people we do have in this community. And this survey is important for the county to complete because it will determine what amount of federal funding it gets to help the homeless.
Where did they spend the night last night? How long have they been homeless?
Those are some of the first questions homeless people answer in the point-in-time census survey.
I did the survey. It's not hard. It's a bunch of basic questions.
The Department of Housing and Urban Development requires every county to ask the same 18 questions. Butte County added 16 more.
What may have contributed to homelessness? Are they interested in any particular type of services? And then they can delineate, what type of services those might be.
Volunteers aren't just counting homeless people at hubs like this one. They're also going out to homeless camps like this one to meet people where they're at and conduct the surveys in the field. The counts usually happen every odd year.
But in 2021, because of COVID, HUD asked that we do not do the count. And so we did one last year, and now we're doing another one this year to get back on track.
Last year's point-in-time survey data shows that there were 1,156 homeless people in Butte County. In 2019, 1,323, and in 2017, 1,983. The Continuum of Care, or COC, said Butte County was undercounted in 2021, contributing this to a lack of volunteers because of COVID-19.
Do you think that they'll be able to reach everyone that is homeless?
Not even. There is so much homeless going on out here.
This year, they have more volunteers. But Chico's reinstated no camping enforcement is making it harder to contact the now scattered homeless.
Chico, we did stand up the pallet shelter. So we do know that a lot of folks who were at Comanche Creek and other places are now at the pallet shelter. So that will be a bit of a difference.
The COC said another reason for last year's undercount was volunteers misunderstood how to administer the survey. Chico housing manager Marie Demers says this year's training was more robust.
There's more to being homeless than just being homeless.
And it's important to note that this survey is all taking place on just today, so just in one day. And the county did use about 170 volunteers this year, which, like I said earlier, was up from what we saw last year. And it's expecting to get its first preliminary numbers by March. Reporting in Chico, Tori Apodaca, Action News Now, coverage you can count on.
Thank you, Tori. Every homeless person who took the survey was also given a food voucher for a food truck plus $10 for McDonald's and a gift card. The NorCal Continuum of Care all ran a census count today, and that includes the homeless in Shasta and Modoc counties. In the 2022 survey, they counted a little over 1,800 homeless people, total 798 of them in Shasta County alone, with about 400 on the streets, the rest in shelters. Almost 20% had felony convictions, 10% were veterans, and 4% were ages 18 to 24.
A Reading restaurant hit with vandalism. The act caught on camera. Action News Now spoke with the manager of Thai Hut, who says someone threw a rock through their glass front door. You can see it in this video from Monday before 2 a.m. We reached out to Reading PD. They say they do not have a suspect identified, but they are investigating. Thai Hut says back in November, someone also smashed a window that cost them about $2,000 to replace. The Shasta County Board of Supervisors voted to support the relocation of the Wind River Casino in Reading. It opposed the city of Reading's December decision to continue its long-held opposition to the project. One group called Speak Up Shasta says there are still public safety, traffic, and environmental problems with the project. Reading Rancheria wants to move and expand along property on Interstate 5 in South Reading. The U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs will have the final say.
New at 5, Chico police arrested 2 people they say robbed a 17-year-old on his bike. This happened Saturday after 7 p.m. near Hooker Oak Avenue and Madrone Avenue. Police arrested Mercedes Owsley shortly after, and then they arrested another suspect, Brandon Baker, today. Police say the 2 took the boy's bicycle, cell phone, and other personal property. New at 5, Stephen Schlapia, a man accused of murder last March in the Mountain Gate area of Shasta County, was found competent to stand trial. Schlapia was evaluated separately by 2 different doctors, and both determined he could stand trial, so that trial is now set to begin March 2nd at 9 a.m. Water savings continuing into this wet winter. Meteorologist Patrick Wright shows us how we're doing at 5:30.
Plus, new at 5:30, a shutdown bakery is back open. New details on the tin roof in Chico and its efforts to bounce back. But first, lawmakers are looking to get something on the books regarding classified documents as we learn more about what turned up at former Vice President Pence's home.
Let's talk. Hey, can I drop your teas, Jason, here in the B block?
Yeah, we'll just have Courtney do it.
We're gonna, John, we're gonna drop the Jason teas as well as the Trump on Facebook B4, and let's see where that gets us.
The FBI now has the classified documents found at former Vice President Mike Pence's Indiana home.
Pence's lawyers say the documents were inadvertently boxed and transported to his home at the end of the last administration. The lawyer says attorneys swept the property out of, quote, an abundance of caution last week. Once found, they were placed in a safe, then handed to the FBI. Pence had previously said he did not believe he had any classified materials.
Our staff reviewed all of the materials in our office and in our residence to ensure that there were no classified materials that left the White House or remained in our possession.
In the case of Vice President Mike Pence, he came forward and proactively reached out and is following the process. In the case of Joe Biden, he has had classified documents going back to his time in the Senate.
The DOJ is still investigating 25 to 30 classified documents found at President Biden's home and former office. Lawmakers are now discussing bipartisan legislation dealing with classified documents. And we've also learned that the Department of Justice was ready to seek a warrant to enter President Biden's Delaware home if the president had not consented to the search, which he did. Sources say the FBI's unprecedented search of Biden's home resulted from high-stakes discussions between the DOJ and Biden's attorneys over how and when it would all take place.
If you're able to help investigators arrest and convict someone for Tyler Dixon's murder, you could get $50,000 reward money. It's part of the governor's reward program. The Butte County Sheriff's Office says someone shot and killed Dixon back in July of 2021 at the Bidwell Canyon campground. Dixon was sleeping inside a tent when it happened. Call the Butte County Sheriff's Office if you know anything. A call for help as blood banks struggle for inventory. How you can help at 5:30.
Plus a tornado touchdown in Texas. We show you the aftermath when we come back. Let's talk again. We're going to have Jason, my friend Jason here. He's going to toss to break after your hit. Okay? At the wall. And then let's also drop D3. We'll see where that gets us. Okay.
Okay, sweet. Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3. Action News Now. Margot Rowe 1 2 3.
You're watching Action News Now. Storm Tracker weather. Coverage you can count on.
Aerial video from this morning shows severe damage around Houston, Texas. At least one tornado touched down on Tuesday, with several other surrounding counties under tornado watches and warnings. Now, the storm also caused damage in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi.
And Chief Meteorologist Jason Stiff is tracking very different conditions around our area.
Yeah, thankfully nothing that turbulent or destructive. We have had some gusty wind. I mentioned earlier, Redding had a 43-mile-an-hour wind gust at the airport today, and Jarbo Gap topped that. 50-mile-an-hour gusts earlier this morning. We still have some breezes blowing, but those same breezes kept some of our valley overnight lows certainly milder. Redding only dropped down to 50 degrees despite that clear sky above. Where we didn't have that strong wind, Chico dropped down to 37 this morning. It was 19 in Bernie. Ooh, a cold 4-degree morning low in Alturas, but we did rise up to 36. At least it was above freezing today. We had widespread mid to upper 60s around the valley this afternoon, and 47 degrees was the high in Chester. But we still don't have a lot of clouds outside. We'll have a couple clouds sneaking into our sky late tomorrow morning and in the afternoon. Also some areas of fog trying to develop over the snowy ground of Lassen and Modoc counties, but still a fairly clear sky with just a couple clouds through Thursday. Then Friday, some changes are coming. The first of those 2 storms moving our way, but this is a very weak one. It's going to cause a lot more clouds than anything else over Northern California. No rain or snow-bearing clouds in our short term, but then the much larger storm is still waiting in the wings. And late Saturday into Sunday, here it comes. A much better chance for mountain snow, valley rain, more gusty wind, and a big cool down. We're not going to have upper 60s and lower 70s in a few days as we head into the final weekend of January, and we'll still have some lingering areas of wind as we move into Monday afternoon also, but also far fewer clouds by Monday night, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Only a slight chance for showers once they get past about noon on Monday, and we'll also have more sunshine as the first day of February gets here. So I want to show you one of our long-term forecast models. It's actually backed off the last couple days in its amounts of rain, but still bringing everyone measurable. Most places less than a ½ inch though. Coming up in the second half hour, I'm going to show you one of our other models as well as snowfall totals that we have in our forecast through February 1st. And as far as that wind, we'll still have the gusty wind through the canyons and right down through the valley. Tonight, tomorrow morning, and tomorrow afternoon, it will weaken on Friday, but only by Saturday, it's going to start blowing yet again coming out of the north as that second stronger storm moves our way. So here's your forecast for tonight. We'll have lows in the teens around Alturas and Chester, 20s for the rest of the mountains, also 30 degrees for low in Mount Shasta. For the valley, upper 30s and lower 40s for overnight lows with 45 in Paradise. Highs tomorrow above average, but not quite as warm as today. 40s and 50s for the higher terrain with mainly 60s around the valley and foothills, up to 65 degrees for high in Chico and 67 degrees for Redding. Next 7 days in Chico, we'll have the best chance for rain on Sunday. Still a slight chance for it on Monday too, but those highs will cool below average, falling from the upper 60s tomorrow to the upper 50s by Saturday and lower to mid 50s by Sunday and the first half of next week. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.